I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Aloha! According to most studies, the number one thing that people are afraid of is public speaking. The second thing is death. Can you imagine that? Death. And for most people, going to a funeral, they would rather be the one in the casket as opposed to being the one giving the eulogy. I love that. I stole that from Jerry Seinfeld. I love that story. So this talk is titled Paper Tigers. In the Chinese culture, the phrase paper tigers is a popular expression describing how something may appear powerfully frightful, but under the surface, it really doesn't have that much juice. It isn't that much to be afraid of. About 100 years ago, a man was in his horse and buggy, traveling on the outskirts of England, out in the country, on a beautiful spring day with the flowers in the air and the smell of the grass and the slight breeze. And he's traveling along this road headed towards the city. And he looks up ahead and he sees an elderly woman. And as he pulls up to her, he slows down the carriage and he says to her, "Ma'am, would you like a ride to the city?" And she says, "Oh, sir, that would be so great." So it takes her a little while to get inside the buggy and she gets comfortable, and then they head off down the road into the city. And as they're traveling, they're talking, and the man soon realizes that this elderly woman is the plague cholera. And he becomes frozen with fear. And the woman recognizes this and she looks at him and says, "Please, don't be afraid. When we go into the city, I'm only going to kill 10 people." As if that was a lot of comfort to the poor guy. And she says, "As a matter of fact, I'll give you this dagger. And if I kill more than 10 people, then you can kill me." Again, probably not a whole lot of reassurance. So they go into the city, and certainly they find that not only 10 people have died, but 100 people have died. So the man takes the dagger, and he's about ready to stab the elderly woman when she says, wait. I, the plague cholera, killed 10 people, and the other people all died because of fear. So this isn't to discount the real threats that we face in life. You know, we need to pay attention to the fear that protects us from the dangers and the tragedy and the illnesses that can affect us. But we also need to remember that paper tigers can also kill. Fear can kill. Fear has killed many people. I read a story recently about a woman who was in an elevator, and the elevator stopped and the lights went out and it froze between floors and she couldn't get out. And they found her just a couple hours later and she had died. She had been scared to death. Ann Landers, who answers many people's questions from around the world. In fact, she did receive about 10,000 letters a month. And she was asked, what is the number one thing that people want to know from you? And she said, they want to know about fear. Because people are afraid and they want to understand their own fear. You know, we live in an interesting time because of the internet and because of communication. We know what's happening all around the world within moments of when things happen. And it seems like there's so much happening. There's so much to be afraid of in our world today, many of which are paper tigers, and many of which create a lot of dis-ease for all of us. There's a Buddhist quote that I like that says, "Fear does not prevent death, but fear prevents life." I love that, because sometimes fear can actually scare the life out of us. Fear keeps us from taking chances. It keeps us from being creative. It keeps us from being vulnerable. Fear keeps us often from loving ourselves. And even more tragic, fear can keep us from loving other people. Fear is powerful enough to keep us from achieving that which we have the potential to be. Fear can keep us stagnated and keep us from exploring possibilities and opportunities that come to us in our life. Many people are living in self-made prisons because of their fears, because of their paper tiger fears that don't allow them to see the possibility and the truth of what is happening in our lives. If I look back on my own life, I can remember times when I didn't take an opportunity, or I didn't apply for a job, or I didn't go after a relationship, or I didn't take a class in school because I was afraid. And how many times do we do that? How many times have you done that in your life, where you had a great opportunity and you didn't take it because some little voice, some paper tiger in your head said that you can't do this, or it's not possible for you? In the science of neuroscience, the idea of fear is being looked at. And they're looking at what happens in our brains when we are afraid. And how can we shift our mindset away from this fear so that we can explore and embody our true potential. I recently read an article that just blew my mind, speaking neuroscience-ly, about a Dr. Wendy Suzuki, who is a NYU neuroscientist. She's a professor, and she's an author of a book maybe you've heard of, Healthy Brain, Happy Life. And she's famously studied long-term memory, creativity, anxiety, and how physical activity can actually improve the functioning of our brain. And she writes that fear can shrink the size of our temporal lobe and increase the size of our amygdala. The amygdala is the structure that processes fear and causes us to fight, to flight, or to freeze. Fear also, she says, shrinks the size of our hippocampus, which is part of our brain, which is critical for our long-term memory. She says the hippocampus is involved in creativity and imagination. Imagination takes our memory and the things that we have in our memory and puts them together in a new way. The hippocampus allows us to think about the past and to remember, and it also helps us to look at the future. Long-term stress is literally killing the cells in our hippocampus that contribute to the deterioration of our memory. So what does that mean? It means that fear is reducing our memory, and it's also zapping our creativity. Wow! It makes you think that we're sort of getting into a loop here, aren't we? If we focus on the fearful things in our lives and the paper tigers in our lives, and it actually causes our brain to shrink. And as our brain shrinks, we focus more attention on the fear and the doubt and the worry So it's like we get in this treadmill of circulation of downsizing our potential. You know, it's essential for us to recognize the real tigers and the real threats in our lives so that we can face these issues when they come up. We can face the diseases and the hurt and avoid pain and suffering. But it's important that we distinguish between what are the paper tigers and what are the real tigers. So how do we do that? You know, it's really not easy based on the way evolution has created our brains. Evolution has given us what scientists call a negativity bias, which means that we are prone to being threatened. Our brains are continually looking for bad news. Ever notice? The scientists say that the brain is like Velcro to negative thoughts and Teflon to positive ones. So we hang on to the negative and hold on to that and focus on that. And in the same way, we release the Teflon. When we have good thoughts, we release them and don't hold on to them and forget the truth of who we are and what we're experiencing. So how do we become aware of the paper tigers in our life? Well, I'm going to mention a few of them, and a number of them I've experienced, and maybe you'll see too that you've experienced or had these paper tiger thoughts. The first one is, what if I'm inadequate? Ever think that? Ever say that to yourself? Or what if I can't do this? Or the second one is, what if I don't know how to do it? Or what if I fail? Or what if they don't like me? I felt that a lot when I was a child. I wanted to be liked, and I would worry about that and sometimes not even go into a crowd of people to talk to them because I was afraid that they wouldn't like me. What if I do the wrong thing? Ever worry about that? What if I cannot change? You know, I'm so stuck in my way and I want to do things my way. What if I can't change? Or what if I lose control? What if I just go over the top and the top comes off and I explode? Or how about, what if they judge me? I think so many of us are worried about being judged. And the truth of it is, who do we judge most of the times? Usually it's ourselves. Or what if something bad happens? Oh, for God's sakes. The worst possible scenario can come up and we can focus on that, and that keeps us from doing anything, from being adventuresome. Or the last one is, what if I get hurt? Wow, all these things can really stifle us. You know, I like the acronym for fear. That is false evidence appearing real, and we can rehash this false evidence over and over again until we find ourselves just stuck in one place and being immobilized in the fear. Once there was a criminal who committed a crime, and he was called before the king. And the king told him that he had a choice of two punishments. The first punishment was to be hung by this rope over here. And the second one was to go through this door. And it was a big, iron, dark door. And the person got to choose, which would you like? And this particular criminal said, I'll take the rope. And as the noose was being put on him, he turned to the king and he asked, by the way, it's not a curiosity. What's behind that door? And the king laughed and said, you know, it's funny. I offer everyone the same choice, and nearly everyone picks the rope. So, says the criminal, tell me, what's behind the door? Right? I obviously, I'm not going to tell anyone because I have this rope around my neck. And so the king paused and he answered, freedom. Freedom is behind that door. But it seems that most people are so afraid of the unknown that they immediately choose the rope. Wow, I love this story because it really encourages us to try something totally different. To try, what's behind door number one. And we can get sort of locked in our habits, doesn't it seem? We kind of operate out of our fear, and we choose what's familiar. We choose the familiar pain. We choose the familiar struggle. We choose the familiar doubt instead of venturing out and opening the door and seeing what is behind it. We just tend to be fearful in general of the unknown. But what if you were to live your best life? What if you were to try an experiment? What if you were to take a chance and say, you know what? Instead of choosing this rope, I'm going to choose to do something different. I'm going to choose to move beyond that door. I'm going to choose to do something different, to be something different. Alan Watts said, our lives are one big effort to resist the unknown. Isn't that interesting? We would rather do things the same way than we would to take a chance on doing something new and experiencing new freedom. The Beatles were rejected by many music companies or album companies. In fact, in a famous quote, in a rejection letter, it said this: guitar groups are on the way out. The Beatles have no future in show business. Well, they eventually did get a contract with EMI just before coming to America on their Beatlemania tour. And of course, the results. We live on a planet full of people who are sort of have this metaphysical rope around their neck, who are afraid of taking chances, who are afraid of experimenting emotionally and spiritually and stepping out and being all that they can be. And how about you? Where do you stand on this spiritual journey? So I think it's time to release the paper tigers. What do you say? So I've got some ideas on how we can do that. And the first one is to examine the paper tigers, to look at them and to ask them when they come up for you, are you real? Is that paper tiger that you're facing, that fear, is it real? Or is it an illusion? And we want to challenge our paper tigers. And the second thing we can do is to open the doors to what is unfamiliar, to open the doors and step into this place of unknown, to be willing to take the chance. Someone said that when nothing changes, nothing changes. Along that same lines, if we keep doing the same things that we're doing, we're going to continue to get the same things that we've always got. And Dr. Phil was saying, how is that working for you? Are you willing to take some chances to step into the unknown, to be all that you can be, and to find that freedom? So when we release our paper tigers, we step into new opportunities of creativity, of freedom, of growth and joy. You could use this time of sheltering at home to step into something new, to do something new, to find something creative that you can do, to write a book or call a friend or experiment with Zoom, to take a class online and to discover something in yourself that perhaps you haven't discovered before. Our unity principles teach us that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, right? So what we continually think about is what manifests for us in our lives. So I'd like to invite you to explore moving beyond your paper tigers and to live a life beyond these imagined fears and to explore all that you can be. You know, the truth of it is, I know who you are. I know that you are an incredible, perfect expression of the divine. And I know that that divine is calling you forward to be all that you can be, to call out those paper tigers and to step beyond them and experience and express your highest possibility. You know, I know that you are a strong and powerful vessel of unlimited potential. That is the truth of who you are. So I've got an affirmation that says that, and that is, I release fearful thoughts. I am a strong and powerful vessel of unlimited potential. Say that with me. I release fearful thoughts. I am a strong and powerful vessel of unlimited potential. That's who you are. So how does that feel? So let's take a deep breath. I invite you to close your eyes. Let's turn within. I don't know if you could hear the squawking of a bird that was listening. They've been listening to this talk just outside our window. But it just said, yes, 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 that's who you are. So as we breathe in and breathe out, just feeling the power in this moment, the power that comes with identifying and releasing the paper tigers, stepping into Spirit's perfect idea for you, breathing in, breathing out. Imagine that you can take off these metaphysical ropes that bind you. And as you do so, to feel the freedom, to feel the unbound potential, the power, the love. And as you release these binds, you also release the blinds. And you're able to see who you are, to know your truth, to experience your power, to be all that you are. And imagine that you can open the door to the unknown. And as you look into the allness beyond this door, to see the possibilities, and even to just know that they're there, to know that the universe is calling you forth to be all that you can be, to release the way you've done things in the past, to let go of the paper tigers, and to step into the allness of your true potential. To know that you are a strong and powerful vessel of unlimited potential. So hold this truth for a few moments. I am a strong, powerful vessel of unlimited potential. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling this allness, this oneness with who you are. Gently bringing your attention back to this moment. To say yes to life. To say yes to freedom. And as you bring your awareness back to this moment, breathing in, breathing out, and opening your eyes whenever you're ready. I release these fearful thoughts. I am a safe and strong vessel of unlimited potential. Yes, you are, and so it is. Namaste. Well, thank you for being here today and joining us in this lesson. I hope that you are blessed in this time of creativity, which is how I'm liking to see this time of sheltering within, and to see it as really a creative time for me. I hope that it is for you as well. And I would like to invite you to prepare any tithes and love offerings that you have to give to us today, and to thank you for these gifts. Unity Church of Maui is one with you, and as you give to us, these gifts help us to continue to do this great work that we do. And I do hear from people all over that are touched by our messages, and I'm glad to have you as a partner in this truth, and spreading this joy and love on this planet. So thank you for your gifts, and you can mail them to Unity Church of Maui at 483 South High Street in Wailuku. And you can also go to our website and hit the donate button on the first page you'll see and donate to us. And thank you so much for being with us during this time. We can't wait to get back in our building, but we're having a blast doing church in this way right now. So as you hold your gift, let's affirm together our prayer for prosperity, which begins: through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. So, just got a couple announcements. Next Sunday is Mother's Day. Can you believe it? And as I looked for something to talk about on Mother's Day, Mother Teresa came to my mind. And so I've been doing some research about her, and so I think she's a great example of motherhood. And so my talk title for next week is I'm only a little pencil in the hand of God. Whew. I love that. Don't have any emotion about that. So, and she goes on to say, a God who is about to write a love letter to the world. So please join us next Sunday on Mother's Day. And let's see, as you know, we're preparing for spirit groups. We had hoped to kick them off this week, but we've had some technical opportunities for growth. Certainly one of my personal growth challenges right now is this idea of technology. And so we're working with that, trying to make that, we are not trying, we're going to make this happen, we're going to have it happen, we're going to let it happen. And so the spirit groups are probably still a couple weeks away, and we'll let you know when that will happen. They will be happening on a Thursday night. We know that much. From 7 until 8:30, we know that much. And let me see. So we would like to know if you are interested in being a part of a spirit group, so we can register you and be talking with you about how we're going to do that. We're going to do it with Zoom. And so anybody who has any questions about Zoom, you've got 2 weeks or so to communicate with me or Emily about how to do that. And it'd be a great time to do that. And to also get Mindy's book, What If It All Goes Right? This is an amazing book. You are going to love this book. This book will change your life. I guarantee it. So please order this book now. You can get it on through Amazon. You can get it as a Kindle book in a couple minutes. It's an amazing book. I love this book. So let us know if you're interested in being a part of a spirit group. It's going to be, we're really going to have a good time. You can email Emily at Emily Goss, Goss 100 at gmail.com, and let her know you're interested, and then we'll start to put everything in place for that to happen. Please participate with us. You are going to love it. You will be transformed. Did I say that already? I think I did. If you get the point. Also, we are having Zoom meetings during the week. There'll be a Zoom meeting today, Sunday, at 11 o'clock. And we'll all get together and talk about this talk and what it means to you. And so that'll be happening at 11. You can find the links to the Zoom meeting in our weekly e-blast, and the links are clickable, so you click on them and you'll go right into the meeting. Also on Wednesday, we do a meditation at 12 o'clock and daily word. And this is great if you want to get a little charge of spirit in the middle of the week. And then, of course, on Friday, we have our Friday night Zoom at 7:30, and we'll get together and I'll introduce some kind of a spiritual idea, and we'll share that idea and whatever else is going on in our life. It's a great time to stay connected and to just be with each other in community. It's a marvelous time. Please come and check it out. And the links to that are also in our e-blast. So, and if you're interested about any of our other previous lessons, you can go to our Unity Church of Maui YouTube page, and you'll find a whole lot of lessons in music there that you can experience. And we'd love to stay connected with you in that way. So I think, unless anybody has any questions, nope, I don't guess so. And before I do anything further, I think it's time to let this day go. So God bless you. Thank you for being here today and enjoying this service with us. And why don't we end by praying together the prayer for protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Aloha. Namaste.
Where I live, there are rain.